Hey guys, welcome back to Sports with Mono and Mono. Sounds like a recording, the intro.
No, it's live. It's live.
It is live.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yep, it's April 10th, 21.
That is correct.
And I want to say the first thing, I was driving in from where I live to where our studio is, and I saw a baseball game being played in Oakland Park or whatever, Oakland, New Jersey. First game I've seen, activity.
These are the guys that I coached.
And there's 10 baseball fields there,
Yeah,
and it's the first time I've seen people at a game.
A lot of guys that I coached are freshmen in high school now. They're playing right now on Field 8, Indian Hills.
A lot of tennis players out there. The tennis courts were packed today,
Yeah.
so I guess COVID's over.
No,
Right?
yeah, but it's good that people are getting out.
But
Like
anyway,
a year ago, the place was abandoned.
it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
Tumbleweeds blowing around.
Yep.
And,
Yes, it was.
But
An old Western movie set it looked like.
Bonanza. What season was that? 12 or 18?
38.
And ironically, we're talking about that. We're going to bring that up later on with something I came across last night, which I want to bring up. But welcome back, everybody. Steve?
Yep.
Lots to talk about.
Yes, there is.
There was a basketball game last Monday, wasn't there? This past Monday? Let's talk about it.
All right, well, I have a monologue to get to, do I not?
We do. Tear it up. The mic is yours.
Yeah.
2 minutes of uninterrupted. How about it?
Well, the quarterback for the Houston Texans is Deshaun Watson. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of him. He's been in the news of late. But anyway, I finally have been paying attention to it, but not paying attention to it. Right? So, a press conference comes with the one of the women or several of the women of the quote-unquote 22 that are filing suit and have been violated by Deshaun Watson, allegedly, etc. But the more I thought about this, I said to myself, Deshaun Watson, like I said, is the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans who has access to the finest masseuse equipment, massage tables, whirlpools, you name it. Why he's seeking out these women to do these individual massages and the amount of women is giving me pause of where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not saying he's guilty of anything. I'm saying it's a bad look. Sponsors are already pulling out. Nike's pulled out. Beats has pulled out. The NFL is looking into this. He's got Rusty Harden as his attorney, who is Roger Clemens' noted attorney. So it's a bad look for Deshaun right now. The only thing I'm going to say is where there's smoke, there's fire. And, we'll see how this transpires. But
Okay.
Houston should have traded him when they could have.
I've been holding off because the monologue is, like we said, 2 minutes of uninterrupted commentary. And we've talked about this topic every show for the past 5 shows, right? Forgetting the contract thing, and you're right. But this is a bad thing. When Nike drops you and Dr. Dre Beats headphones drops you, that means there's something going on here. So,
yeah.
And he's trying to negotiate a trade or let me go, and we're paying you $40 million, and the Titans are saying Texans are saying you're going to sit and we're not trading you.
They can't trade him for a ham sandwich right now.
I mean, he was at the top of the world, and now he's at the bottom.
He had the negotiation power of what Harden had.
Okay.
He did with the Rockets, and now, like I said, you couldn't trade him for a ham sandwich. Right
And my feelings on this Harden and these players in sports trying to strong arm the owners and so forth. So let's move on. How about a basketball game last Monday?
Yeah.
And we talked about it, and you were right. I'll give you kudos. You talked about Gonzaga, and they were going to play in that final, and they certainly were there in the final.
Yeah, but I also said they go undefeated and win the national championship, and so I'm wrong on that front. I expected a better performance, obviously, but I give Baylor all the credit in the world. Baylor came out and and manhandled them from start to finish.
You saw the first half, and Baylor came out, and it was up. They were up like 12-0, 13-0. But you never thought the game was over because Gonzaga could light it up, and they certainly deserved the number 1 ranking, and they made it to the final. But like I said they've been there before. They were going to get to the Final Four, and I'm not gloating here. I'm just saying Baylor, nobody gave them a snowball's chance in hell in this game.
I don't know about that. I think, they
on
came
CBS Sports, it was Clark Kellogg, it was Barkley, it was Seth Davis, it was the guys that you said, and none of them picked Baylor.
I got you.
None of them. What a performance, though. I mean, they had and you know what? Coach Drew actually made a statement. He said, we start 5 guys, but we got 8 guys that could start on any NCAA Division I team, and that showed.
Listen, speaking of both the coaches, so Mark Few, again, great coach.
2 thumbs up, no question.
No question. But, what's going to be the, is he ever going to win the big one? That'll still haunt him.
Well, again, the number 1 high school prospect is going to Gonzaga next year, so he reloads.
And then Scott Drew. People are forgotten. It's been 18 years since the cesspool.
I haven't forgotten.
I haven't forgotten.
It was a dirty cesspool.
It was the worst cesspool you could imagine. Coach Dave Bliss. There's actually a documentary on that. Go find it. It's about Baylor basketball.
Bliss ought to be in shackles and chains, right?
It's so ridiculous. So players killing each other, covering it up, etc.
Yep.
So 18 years later, Scott Drew takes over the program. And Drew, had a tough going of it because of what he inherited. I guess it's 5, 6, 7 years ago. He took over and struggled, and now he's completely turned it around.
Oh no, he's been there for 18, years, I think. Now.
Right, I'm just saying,
what he took over was unimaginable.
What he took over was so ridiculous. It took him 7, 8, 9 years.
You're right.
To where he was building it up to the point where they win the national championship. So Scott Drew, congratulations.
And again,
this is Baylor. I'm not saying there's any funny business still going on.
And only the second,
but it's Baylor, okay?
And only the second national championship. Even Phi Slamma Jamma never actually won it, right?
Right.
Which is, who was the other team? Was Texas Southern, right?
Somebody asked me a question during the week about the basketball game and said, I said, would you be upset if Gonzaga goes undefeated? And I said, no, because they know we revere the 76
team. Right.
I said, no. I mean, this is a class program, all the way, Few and Gonzaga. I said, they do it right. I said, I would have had a problem if UNLV and the Tarka went undefeated, or Phi Slamma Jamma. That I would have a problem with.
I know. We actually liked Phi Slamma Jamma more than UNLV, though. But it was awesome. It was awesome, and I got to tell you, you were right all along. This kid Suggs, he's awesome, but he got out. They got outplayed on Monday night, and we've seen it before. We worship, watching the NCAA basketball final, and we talked about the women, and that was awesome. Great game, and
And just to explain my reasoning on that was student athlete. Okay, Bobby Knight's Hoosiers were student athletes.
But they had to go to class.
Yeah, they're student athletes. Gonzaga, I'm sure they go to class.
It's athlete student.
UNLV, when Larry Johnson was 43 years old as a sophomore, and
even I had a higher
Stacey Augman.
Even I had a higher GPA than them.
Yeah, exactly.
And mine wasn't great.
Right, Larry Johnson went to class. Oh, okay, sure he did. How many classes did Clyde go to at Phi Slamma Jamma?
He didn't have to.
Yeah, thank you.
At the door is your diploma on the way out.
Exactly.
But it was awesome. And I tell you,
I tip my hat to Baylor. They're the national champs, and Gonzaga had a great year. They reload. Maybe they can do it again.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jalen Suggs is going to leave as a freshman. He's probably going to.
He's absolutely going to leave.
Let's see if he comes back for a year. Who knows?
But it was awesome. And listen, let's stay with the NCAA men's basketball team, because we talked last week about Roy Williams suddenly stepping down. And we talked on the show about, who was going to take over. And it could have been, you jokingly said,
Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino.
That was being
I mentioned Wes Miller from UNC Greensboro.
But they
Hubert
hit a
Davis.
home run.
And
long-time assistant.
100% home run.
Oh, 100%.
We have worshipped Hubert Davis.
100% Tar Heel.
And he was great when he played for
Hubert
that team.
Davis, we remember playing under Dean Smith, first-round pick of the Knicks.
And he paid his dues on the bench. 9 years an assistant.
Classy, good guy, Hubert Davis.
And after
the right
they hired,
choice. It's absolutely the right choice.
And after they hired him, I said, you know what, Steve and I should have said the guy's sitting right next to Roy Williams.
I should have said the same thing.
Me too. I thought about it afterwards, but that's awesome choice.
I couldn't have been.
And the Tar Heels are in good hands with Hubert Davis.
That's a home run right there.
You bet. So listen, before we move on.
Well, Sean Miller. I mean,
I wanted to bring that up too.
Sean Miller. Sean Miller was unexpectedly let go by Arizona this week.
There's a pile of dirty laundry.
I don't know why it took
him.
a year to let Sean Miller go.
I know. He had his assistant coaches, doing time.
Allegedly.
But you're right.
On tape with FBI.
What was it there? 12 years or something with Arizona?
It's 12 years.
And but they had no choice because they're going to be on probation and whatever.
Yeah.
What a dirty program that turned out to be, right? They were paying DeAndre, Ayton. They were paying him $50,000 a year in cash.
You want a 7-foot center, it's going to cost you.
And he ends up being what? The number one pick in the NBA draft.
Yeah.
So you're right, Sean
I wonder
Miller.
if he paid back to school all that money that they front loaded him.
Wait, what's that noise? I think I just heard Lute Olson roll over in his grave saying, "You got caught? I used to do this, but I never got caught."
Absolutely. Better believe it.
But that wraps up the NCAA men's basketball season.
March Madness was...
You got to say, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, it didn't disappoint at all.
2 thumbs up. It was awesome.
Yes, it was.
But our next segment sponsored by Coriano Trucking of Summerhill, New York. And like I said, if you got a load, he'll get it there.
You got it.
So, Steve, I wanted to bring this up because you got a better track record in this venue, NCAA men's hockey. St. Cloud versus UMass in the final.
Frozen Four final.
And like I said, you used to go to the Frozen Four. I know that.
I know. I'm at Boston University hockey first school.
Oh, that was bigger than anything. And
UMass. I'm not surprised. Again,
no, but let's set up who the final is: St. Cloud and UMass.
Yeah.
And I was a little surprised. They said this was the first time St. Cloud's made the final. I could have sworn they won it like a shocker about 4 or 5 years ago.
They get to the Frozen Four, typically. So they finally.
But they never played in the final, is what you're saying.
No.
Right. And they're playing. You're right. The Minutemen of UMass.
But I'm not surprised about UMass because, Quinnipiac.
Good program.
Yeah, they were there 5 years ago.
Niagara Purple Eagle.
Yeah, but the point is the Northeast, the Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire's, all that, in that area, whether it's Boston University, Boston College, UMass, UMass Lowell, these schools,
Minnesota
Northeastern,
State. Minnesota State, which was the fictional school where
Coach Hayden.
Actually, not a bad show.
Dauber.
What's the matter, Coach?
Hayden Fox, if I remember correctly.
That's exactly right.
Mr. Craig T. Nielsen.
Yep. But that's that's a surprise. St. Cloud versus UMass in the NCAA men's final.
No, it's
and half a dozen of these kids are eventually going to make it to the NHL, right?
I think St. Cloud beat 2-time defending champ Minnesota Duluth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's exciting, though.
They deserve to be there.
You bet.
When you beat the 2-time defending champs.
I mean, just put it into perspective about, NCAA men's hockey. Remember Kreider played at Boston College, and now he's like a 8-year veteran in the NHL scoring goals for the Rangers. You're going to get those guys. And one thing I wanted to mention, the Hobie Baker Award,
Yeah.
which is given to the premier
He's the best college player.
player.
It's a Heisman Trophy for hockey.
Given this year to Cole Caulfield of University of Wisconsin.
Yes.
So, he's going to make the NHL. I'm not sure. I thought I saw a thing on him like...
Oh, he's making the NHL. He's the first-round draft pick of the Montreal Canadiens.
Of the Canadians. That's what I thought. Right?
Yeah. And he's the second Obie Baker winner in Wisconsin history behind Blake Jeffrey-Own. And I believe Blake Jeffrey-Own is related to Boom Boom Jeffrey-Own. Late beer from Miller. I'm Boom Boom Jeffrey-Own.
This is no baloney. I met Boom Boom Jeffrey.
You met Boom Boom.
I did.
And those mitts that he probably had.
Unbelievable. They were catcher's mitts.
Yeah,
But I actually met him, and he was a tough
I don't know.
boy.
I think it might have been his grandson or something, top of my head. But Blake Jeffrey-Own won it in 2010 for Wisconsin. So, Caulfield is well-deserving.
I was working as a waiter for a golf outing, and Boom Boom Jeffrey-Own was there with Raj Gilbert.
Oh.
And I met both of them that day. And I know you got a history. You actually have a picture of you and Mark Messier in a Boston bar, to me, that's like the last picture of Lincoln.
Oh, sure.
Unbelievable. You sent that to me. I go, I am totally jealous.
You should be.
But listen, hockey's underway, right? The NHL's still going on.
It is. Rangers are still up and down, win one, lose one. They're still a couple points behind the fourth playoff spot.
And you're still on the David Quinn's on the hot seat thing?
No, Quinn is going to last a year, but
I know,
then
but
it's over.
He will be the coach next year.
He will not be.
Yes, he will.
No. And anybody wants to chime in, sports with Mono and mono@gmail.com. Send us an email.
Please do.
Really?
Please do. One last thing before we move off the NCAA. Barry Alvarez. And we just talked about University of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of him. And he's got no dirty laundry that people have been talking about.
No,
but
he's been around.
He was the coach, and then he's been the AD for many years, retired.
Yeah. Again.
What?
He retired again.
I know. You're right. This is his third time, right?
Yeah. Okay. Enjoy the 6 weeks off, Barry, while you golf.
No, but this time, with the oxygen tank hooked up, it's time,
Barry Alvarez, I remember him. He was an assistant coach at Notre Dame under Lou Holtz, actually. And then, obviously became Wisconsin's head coach and had a great run. And he's been an athletic director. He's Wisconsin.
And was that the Rose Bowl?
He's Wisconsin football.
Was that the Rose Bowl that Ron Dane, ran for over 200 yards?
Ron Dane's coach.
That was the national championship team, right? No, it wasn't, right?
Dane won the Heisman Trophy. Wisconsin has never sniffed the national championship that we've watched.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
so, but Barry Alvarez, turned around Wisconsin, made him a powerhouse. To your point, like a Ron Dane, so even Jonathan Taylor, it's been a good, steady flow.
Jersey boy.
Of the offensive linemen that have come out of Wisconsin. So you got to credit Barry Alvarez with that. And, he retired.
And, you sure he didn't win a national championship?
With Wisconsin? Now, the top of your head, do you really think Wisconsin has won a national championship that you're forgetting?
Yeah, I am. I'm starting to...
You think they won a national championship?
No, I'm just saying it. I just want putting it out there.
I'm trying to tell you that they haven't won a national championship.
Case closed.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's move on to the NFL, Steve. The big news of the week was the Sam Darnold trade, right? Joe Douglas.
Yes, I heard about this.
And Jets brass decided...
There were some rumors about this.
They're going in a different direction.
There were some rumors about this, about Sam Darnold maybe perhaps getting traded by the New York Jets. Listen, it's a good deal. I think he lands in Carolina where...
And that makes Zach Wilson the...
Oh, it's a done deal.
It's a done deal.
Zach Wilson's coming to the Jets. Yep. And... listen, they got a second-round pick. They got 3 picks, but listen, they got a second-round pick for next year.
I know, a second-round pick what? For the number 3 guy picked in the draft.
Yeah, well, they weren't getting a number 1.
We knew that, but I'm saying, you've been in the Sam Darnold camp. I said he shouldn't have been the 3rd player picked in the draft a few years ago. He's got almost the worst quarterback rating in the past 3 years.
You have to give this kid some slack.
I think he's talented.
With the Gase.
But he's really, if people keep hanging this on Gase, you gotta perform on the field.
All I am saying.
I like the kid. He's got talent. I wish him all the best.
Yes, me too.
But I always stand by it and say he lived up to my expectations of shouldn't have been the third player picked in the draft.
He's 24 years old, so
I got
his career is far from over.
Exactly. Look, Andy Dalton's got a career. He's just named the starting quarterback of the Bears for crying out loud.
So Sam Darnold could follow the Andy Dalton.
He was carrying Jerry Jones's, bags to the private jet, last year.
Okay.
And now he's the starting quarter. If I'm a Bears fan, I'm going, really? This is what we're doing?
Yeah, Ryan Pace.
We're not trading up like the Niners to get Mac Jones. Is that going to happen, Mac Jones?
I'm not sure who they're taking. It could be Justin Fields or Mac Jones or the Trey Lance kid.
Who would you
They're
take?
going quarterback.
I would take Mac Jones. I think he's a good fit for San Francisco.
I think they're going Justin Fields.
But Nick Saban said, hey, at Pro Day, they didn't ask me one question about Mac Jones. Well, that's because, maybe they're keeping their cards close to the vest, as they say. Mac Jones going to be a Tom Brady type quarterback?
I don't know.
But we do know that...
I love Mac Jones.
I know you do. You were right. You were right all along. But
back to the Jets. If they're all in on Zach Wilson, and they're all in on Zach Wilson...
We're all in on... I'm in on Zach Wilson.
Too. Then you go get him. Yep. It's no different than Gettleman getting his balls broken, when he had the hard-on for... Daniel Jones. If he's your guy, and you're in the position to make that selection,
then
go get him. Go get him.
Well, obviously,
right
that's
or
what
wrong or indifferent. If he's your
Jets,
guy, go get him.
But for the Jets to trade their starting quarterback, that means they got a quarterback. Whether it's Fields, whether it's Lance, whether it's
listen, they could sign like a Nick
Zach Wilson.
Yeah, Zach Wilson is.
But that's the Robert Saleh era has begun.
Yeah,
right. He wants a quarterback that he can. He watches the films. He
so
saw
don't be
Sam
surprised
Darnold.
if it's Nick Foles or something.
Oh, no.
For 6 games, that type of thing. What they did with Fitzpatrick, with Tua. I'm serious. Don't be surprised.
Well, had the Joe Jets Flacco thing work out?
Well, the Jets need a bona fide quarterback.
I got
backup quarterback. So Nick Foles, you're laughing like that's a possibility.
Nick Foles?
Why not? Nick Foles. You think Nick Foles cares if he starts or not?
But
he's getting paid $20 million a year.
But if you traded your starting quarterback, then the quarterback you're picking is going to start. Period. Zach Wilson. If that's your guy, he starts day one.
Yeah.
You don't bring in Nick
theory,
Foles. You don't bring in Nick Foles.
I'm just saying, what's the difference if he starts week 6 or week 1?
We'll see. But that was news in the NFL. Right, and you touched on the monologue, and I don't want to talk about it again. But the Watson thing, it's one of our listeners, Jim Walsh, brought something up. He said, "How bad is Houston? They've been dealing with, right, the Harden thing, the Watson thing. It's just tough time for Houston.
Yeah,
the city of Houston and the sports fan. But the NBA and." I wanted to bring this up because Kevin Durant made his return.
He did. KD.
Which, as you know, let's not talk about it again because I said it's going to be the Lakers and the Nets in the final.
Yeah.
But talking about KD coming back, this wasn't about a hamstring. They sat him down because he had a terrible injury last year. They're just buying time. They don't need to win games during the regular season. As long as they make the playoffs, they're still going to the finals. And now Harden's out. You know what they're saying? He's been carrying the load
ironic.
He's been carrying
Isn't
the
it
load.
crazy that KD had a hammy and now Harden has a hammy?
Exactly.
What are the chances?
So they want him to take like I said, the regular season does not matter. And that's what they're doing, resting the big 3. But come playoff time, all 3 of them are going to be there. And they're going to march their way from the East and go play the Lakers in the final. But this Kevin Durant hamstring, is that what you're really going with? A hamstring?
Yeah, that's
he had an Achilles problem. They're resting him because it doesn't matter. That's my thought on the NBA.
Right. What am I going to say? I agree with you 100%.
How about your Knicks? How are they doing these
They're doing
days?
fine.
They're doing fine.
They're competitive. Tom Thibodeau is... I'm serious. I got no problem with the direction of the Knicks.
But who's the biggest
Only been
surprise?
like-
Who's the biggest surprise in the NBA? And he plays for the Knicks. This kid Randall. He actually does. He's putting 30 points a game up. It's unbelievable. And we've never heard of him. I got to tell you, if you say I've been following his career
Kentucky.
forever.
From Kentucky.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
But he's done nothing in 7 years in the league, and
Draft-
now he's
was the
lighting
number
it
one
up.
draft pick by the Lakers. I know everything about Julius Randle.
But he's lighting it up this year, and you're right. We
Because he
talked
has the
about
opportunity to. He's the man.
Tom Thibodeau, solid
Tibbs.
coach. They're going to finish under 500 and still make the playoffs. And
Yeah,
guess who
but
they're going to
the
play?
point is the-
Guess who they're going to play in the first round of the playoffs?
I don't know, the Brooklyn Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah. You don't think they can beat the big three?
And you don't think that has anything to do with Adam Silver saying, the Knicks and Nets would be a pretty profitable endeavor to put on television for the NBA.
We shall see how it plays out.
All right. I just wanted to say, if you thought I'm buying the Kevin Durant hamstring thing, you're kidding. But we got an email from one of our listeners, Jim Smith, who listed the top 10 best players in the league, and we agreed with all of them. It was Doncic, it was KD, it was LeBron, it was the same guys that we would expect.
Yeah.
I'm telling you though, basketball is wide open, but they want the Nets to play the Lakers in the final. That's all I'm going to say. But when I was talking about the top 10 guys, this Kyrie Irving, as much as we've kind of disenfranchised ourselves from him, he's a phenomenal basketball player.
You don't have to convince me of
He
that.
is. He is a step back shoot guy, and he don't miss.
The guy is world class.
He really is.
His talent.
He's up there. So Jim, you left him off the list as much
He's
as
a head case, though.
he is.
But talent, but physical
And he takes
talent.
off whenever he wants. So
He
he's
does.
got personal problems.
Why not?
I'll take 2 weeks off. And the Nets say, you know what? That's fine. We got Harden, and now you come back, and now Harden takes off.
That's it.
Oh.
It's their vacation schedules managing. That's all it is.
Yep. And let's move on, Steve, to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And this segment, of course, is sponsored by Lynch Toyota of Manchester, Connecticut.
Well, I just want to say something real quick about, before we start Major League Baseball, the wear and tear. Like, I almost wasn't able to do the show today because after the last, 4 or 5 shows that you and I have done, I'm starting to feel some wear and tear on my sides. A little general soreness from sitting
My
and
core
talking.
is starting to feel a little
And
weak.
the core is starting to feel so... I was thinking about doing a maintenance day today, but
I know where you're going.
But
so
you know
go
what?
on.
I kind of felt important to do the show. Of course,
we don't do 162 shows.
Of course, referring to Mr. Aaron Judge.
All rise.
Yeah, but it's starting to get really... And he's a good kid, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He's missed 146 games in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And then when, I don't know if I blame Aaron Boone for the choice of words in the press conference. Well, after the first 4 games, the wear and tear, he's experiencing general soreness.
Of course.
Oh, my God.
Look, the Aaron Boone is the man, he learned from Joe Torre how to say what you're supposed to
Bigelow
say.
T.
No, but really, the way Aaron Boone and Girardi and Torre, they gave the standard answers the press want to hear, but you're right.
It.
This guy can't stay on the field. You and I talked about this before. If you and I had the opportunity when we were playing baseball to play 3 or 4 games a day, we would do it.
Oh, of course.
And we wouldn't miss an inning.
Right.
And this guy's, look at the contract they're going to have to start talking about paying him.
I was just going to lead to that. What contract am I offering to pay him? You're not going to stay on the field? You think I'm going to offer him Fernando Tatis money?
Yep.
And Lindor money?
Mike
and
Trout money?
Not a chance.
It's going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
It is going to happen.
No, it's not.
And I agree with you that he plays a 3/4 or half a season.
I'm telling you.
I got you.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Good point,
If he's going to get that contract, it's going to be somewhere else.
Listen, we love Judge like
Love
we
him
love
to death.
Alonzo,
Love him
right?
to death. The teeth, Aaron, the teeth look great, okay?
I haven't seen them yet, actually.
Oh, they look great. You couldn't tell that he looked like Letterman or
Strahan.
Strahan.
Wow.
Super job, Aaron.
That's funny. I haven't seen the picture yet.
No.
So, let's stay with Major League Baseball. There was a no-hitter last night. First in Padres history.
That is correct.
Over like 1,900 regular season games.
Never had the likes of Randy Jones.
I think it was Joe Musgrave.
Joe Musgrave, local San Diego kid, too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
But again, you had pitchers like Randy Jones and Dave Dravecki and guys like that. Hey, he's the first one in Padres history.
Kevin Brown, you would have thought.
Kevin Brown, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got a good staff now with Snell and so forth.
Sure.
And,
They're spending money, man.
But you know, it was an interesting point. The catcher, he actually caught a no-hitter a couple of years ago. His name, Victor something. Actually, I don't even know him. We don't watch the National League as much as we do the American League. But he's caught 2 no-hitters in 3 years.
See.
Joe Musgrove.
Joe Musgrove.
Not exactly nominated for the Hall of Fame yet, but he'll be on the ballot in 12 years.
He's got more work to do.
But while we're with the Padres, Fernando Tatis.
Yeah.
Swinging at a ball, and he may have a problem.
He's on the DL.
That was like watching it going, this is the guy we're going to pay $31 million a year, whatever, for 20 years.
Listen,
I said he's a good player.
I don't see this as a trend yet. He's hurt. That's all. We'll see. He's on the 10-day DL.
So he's not on the Aaron Judge,
Well, no, because he hasn't missed 145 games in 3 years. And then you get this ridiculous general soreness after wear and tear after 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God.
Yeah. But I wanted, while we're on Major League Baseball, I got to bring this up because I was telling Steve before the show, I saw this Netflix documentary last night, and it was awesome. If you're a baseball fan, you would appreciate it. And this is a little close to our heart because we've had a nephew that now the pitching coach at Rutgers University. It was awesome. It was called, and let me get this right, The Battered Bastards of Baseball. And it's an hour long, and it was about minor league baseball. They were like one of the first independent teams, right? Broke away from Major League Baseball, who owned a monopoly, and even the Supreme Court said baseball is a monopoly. They're not subject to antitrust rules. He took over. This was Bing Russell, who was the father of Kurt Russell. And Kurt actually was on the team. Bing Russell played the sheriff on Bonanza for 13 seasons. And he took over this team. And what I was thinking, it was like Charlie Finley, Bill Veeck, right?
Yeah.
Gadgets, gig, that kind of thing. It's unbelievable. They set minor league baseball records for attendance. This was after the Portland Beavers, which we remember as a minor league team. They decided to pack up and move out of town. And Bing Russell took over this team with a bunch of ragamuffins, and even Jim Bouton pitched for them.
Right.
They set minor league attendance records. It's so awesome. It's so funny. Watch it. I recommend it. I just stumbled on it last night. It was on Netflix.
No, good.
And,
I'll dial it in.
But you got to watch this. This was, what a run they had. And he challenged Major League Baseball because they realized, this guy was putting on a pretty good show. And beer drinking guys and so forth. It was 1973 to 1977. And then he challenged Major League Baseball, who said, we want the rights to the Portland area. Move out. We'll give you $5,000. He challenged it, and an arbitrator gave him $206,000. But it was so fun. They never won the actual, minor league title and hoisted the cup. Highly recommended.
All right.
It's awesome. And Kurt Russell was talking about his father. And when you see it, you'll go, oh, my God, I remember him as the sheriff on Bonanza or whatever, Gunsmoke, whatever it was. Highly recommended. 2 thumbs up. And you know how Steve and I, we see a sports documentary and we learn something we didn't know. We love it.
We love it.
Watch it. So, Steve, there was a golf tournament still going on this weekend.
Still going on.
Let's talk about it.
The defending champ is...
Missed the cut.
Yeah, he's not teeing off today.
Rory McIlroy?
Not playing today.
Missed the cut.
Yeah.
Brooks Koepka?
Well, Brooks...
missed the cut.
Missed the cut, but Brooks at least has, somewhat of an excuse. Like a torn knee. That
Oh,
he's
no
recovered
question
from.
about it. We weren't
But
expecting
You
that.
give Koepka credit for showing up and trying.
Yeah.
But, hey, Justin Rose is leading the tournament.
And we were talking about it because I know that's your guy. And but he's had back problems and so forth. But what an opening round. What an opening round.
And, he had a tough day yesterday, but then stopped the bleeding.
Yep.
And rebounded and, stayed the course. Today's moving day at the Masters.
Yes, it is.
But you got Jordan Spieth, you give him credit. Breaks the drought, 4 years of not winning anything at Valero last week.
Yep.
And here he
the
is.
Valero Texas Open.
Yeah.
Right?
So he's in the mix. Justin Thomas is in the mix.
Who picked Justin Thomas to win?
I don't know, but Justin Thomas has a better
I
shot.
did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Listen to last week's show. I did.
I thought you took VJ Singh.
No, I didn't. And I wanted to bring something up because, the Masters, the opening ceremony was with Lee Elder
Yes.
and so forth. And you and I remember Lee Elder.
We remember Lee Elder.
But what Lee Elder endured and so forth. But I watched the highlight. I watched it
he
live
endured.
with Lee Elder, Jack Nicklaus, and Gary Player.
It was great.
And it was to watch Jack Nicklaus almost literally break down in tears by seeing Lee Elder there, and he played with him in that tournament in 1975, right?
Yeah.
First black guy to play in the Masters. It was heart-wrenching. And how about Gary Player? I'm 30 years younger than him, and he looks 10 times the
Dashing
stud.
South African Gary Player.
Except for the little Australian Joey he's carrying around. He could do 10,000 push-ups in a second.
He does. He
And
still does them every morning.
But it was awesome to see, and I'm so glad they honored Lee Elder for that. And he couldn't tee off.
We need to appreciate it while we see it, because the three of them are,
Yep.
not long for this world.
And then I watched the highlights on the Golf Channel of Jack Nicklaus's first Masters win against Arnold Palmer. It went into a sudden death, 18-hole playoff the next day at Oakmont. And I've been there. I went to the Oakmont golf course for the United States Golf Open in 1994. Lee Janzen won that.
Lee Janzen?
But I followed Arnold Palmer and I followed Jack Nicklaus, and if you're a golfer, that's heaven.
Yeah.
It was awesome. But you got 2 guys up there. Will Zalatakis?
Yeah, never heard of him.
Exactly. And I'm going to throw this out because he was ranked 1,500th in the world.
Is that why I never heard of him?
Now, top 50.
Yeah.
Reigning U.S. amateur champion.
That's cool. Listen.
And we've talked,
I'm just saying, I'm looking at the leaderboard. I'm like, Zalatakis. Related to Zach Galifianakis from
No.
Hangover? No.
No, not related to him. And Brian Harmon, a lefty, he's
Listen,
up there.
Brian Harmon could... He reminds me, he's like Mike Weir. Mike Weir won the Masters.
Yes, he did.
Right? A little lefty.
Mike Weir is actually playing in this
Yes,
Masters.
because he's a defending, he's a Masters champ. He has a lifelong...
Yep. I'm going to bring that up in a second.
Yeah, but Brian Harmon
Yep.
reminds me of Mike Weir, and that's the type of guy.
But it's moving day, so
I know.
We'll see these guys.
I'm just saying Harmon, as of right now, could be a sneaky pick.
And Will Zalatakis will finish in the top 15, but he will not win the Masters. But
Right? You said about Danny Willett.
Nobody had Danny Willett to win the Masters. But it is moving day, so those, like I said, we'll find out who's going to play on Sunday. But you never know with the Masters.
Angel Cabrera out there, did you?
But I wanted to bring this up because you mentioned...
Is he still in jail?
No, the lifetime exemptions. And there's only so many spots in the Masters. Do we really need to have Ian Woosnam? Do we really need to have...
Sandy Lyle?
Do we really give these spots to guys that have a chance? That's Fred Couples was shooting, 16 over? We worship Fred Couples. Love Fred Couples.
I know, but that's
the lifetime exemption at some
tradition.
point.
No, I don't. That's tradition.
Really?
Yes.
So you want to take up spots for kids that have a chance?
I have no problem with it. Like you just opened up with Gary Player, Lee Elder,
and we worship these guys.
I get it.
But at some point, Jack Nicklaus said, you know what?
Okay, but you
I
also
can't do
remember
it
the last
anymore.
time that Arnold Palmer could finish a round at the Masters and how emotional it was.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
And Nicklaus doesn't play anymore. Like that type of thing.
I know.
They fade to glory, type of thing.
Yeah, I guess it's worth putting a sawbuck on Ian Woosnam to win the Masters.
Listen, even yesterday, Bernhard Langer,
who kicks ass on the senior tour left
but he
and right.
almost made the cut.
Almost.
Yeah, but he would have been the oldest guy to make the cut.
Right, and by the end of Sunday, he would have been 19 over.
Of course, but the point is, he's 63 years old.
I'm just saying.
Has no business being there. That's how great of a golfer this guy is.
Give those spots to guys that can,
Bernhard Langer.
One of our favorite. Bernhard Langer. Send us an email at Sports with Mono and Mono. Who does the best?
Mr. Berg.
Peter Oosterhouse, right? That's who it was, right? Bernhard Langer for birdie. But the Masters is awesome. Enjoy the next 2 days.
Yeah,
we love it.
We're going to enjoy it.
You bet.
You better believe it.
And I know our fans are saying, what about the Kentucky Derby? Well, I told you, we're going to get to that.
We got time.
Because there's horses that are dropping out. So that's going to change in the next 2 weeks, but I can't wait to talk about the Derby.
Sure.
It's back where it belongs, just like the Masters. Love it.
Cool.
So we're going to move on to our notable passings,
Yes,
Steve.
we are.
This is a very sad segment for our
Oh,
show.
wait. Okay, I got to do something real quick here.
Quickly.
Aaron Rodgers was the host of Jeopardy.
2 thumbs up.
Right.
I liked it.
Did you see the final Jeopardy question? The guy missed.
I did.
And what his answer was? You should
Cal Berkeley or something?
No, the guy in Final Jeopardy didn't know the answer. So what he wrote was, you should have kicked the field goal.
Yeah, something
It
to
was,
that effect.
listen, you couldn't add it. It was great. Rogers read it, was dying laughing. And guess what? Rogers kind of admitted, yeah, you're right. But I thought that response was brilliant.
Well, the funny thing is that Rogers went to the same college, Cal Berkeley.
I know where he went.
That the contestant was going.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
So far, all the Jeopardy things, which I got to tell you, I love watching Jeopardy.
Yeah.
And the hosts have been pretty good.
Yeah, you're a big Katie Couric fan, huh?
She did pretty good.
She did great.
I got to say.
Love Katie.
How could you not love Katie?
Don't say anything bad about Katie.
Listen, let's move on to our notable passings because we've had a kind of a quiet streak in the past couple of weeks. There haven't been a lot of notables.
What the hell's going on?
How about the number one? You got to put it up there. Prince Philip, right? 99.
99.
Once you knew he checked into the hospital.
A man of the people. Didn't take that royalty stuff too seriously.
Exactly. Goes, this is pretty good. I'll have a spot of tea for 70 years.
Totally.
Right?
He looked down upon people like...
and
Prince
he dies
Philip.
at Gretzky, 99, right?
Yeah. They were planning a big thing in June for his 100th
Oh, my
birthday.
God. I'm calling in sick next week for the funeral.
Yeah, Prince Philip, though.
We do a comedy, but he was 99, and it's
totally.
pretty funny.
Right. James Cromwell played him in The Queen with Helen Mirren.
And I said James Cromwell's best role was L.A. Confidential, as the crooked cop. It was great.
I would think Stretch Cunningham on All in the Family was best role.
I just saw that episode. He was funny.
Who thought Stretch could have such a great acting career?
All right, Prince. So 99, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Prince Philip there.
And this comes from the world of show business, which I say from one of the most underrated comedy shows ever, F Troop, James Hampton.
Yes.
Hannibal Dobbs.
Oh, God.
I mean, aside from Wrangler Jane, which is what we tune in for, it was funny, underrated, and I haven't seen that show in 30 years. But he was also known as
Caretaker in The Longest Yard,
which is one of our top 10.
Sure.
No question.
The Mean Machine.
But he turned out he was close friends with Burt Reynolds, used to be a producer, director, and wrote episodes.
Had a great career.
For Evening Shade, which I never saw. Yeah. It was unwatchable.
Listen, James Hampton had a great career. But
he was Dobbs.
He was Dobbs, there's no question. That's true.
And why is that show never on reruns when they're running?
Is Duffy still alive?
Chief Wild Eagle?
Totally.
Colonel Palmer. Loved it. But listen, I wanted to bring one thing up before we talk about end of our notable passings, because it's kind of sports related. This shooting in South Carolina was horrible. You know, this prominent doctor, his wife, beautiful family, and shot by Philip Adams, former NFL player. We certainly want to send our heartfelt condolences to that family. It was tragic, and now they're talking about he's going to donate his brain. Did he have CTE and so forth? But I got to say, what a horrible, horrible thing. And
awful.
He played for like 5 different NFL teams, and actually had a couple of moments.
Niners, Raiders.
Wasn't a prominent player, but a horrible thing. And I just wanted to bring that up. And when we're talking about sports, former Giants wide receiver Travis Rudolph.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He murdered somebody, or allegedly murdered somebody too. So, this CTE, we go back and we can talk about it, but what a horrible thing. And we just wanted to send our best to the folks of South Carolina and that doctor's family. And the Travis Rudolph thing, I don't know much about it, but he has been arrested on murder charges.
Yeah.
You're not arrested if they don't think you had something to do with it. But I wanted to bring that up. But listen, thanks for joining us, everybody. And please, like I said, Jim Walsh, Jim Smith, welcome back. Thanks for the emails. Tony, where are you?
Tony.
We're getting regular emails from her. She must be on vacation.
Okay.
But I wanted to say, great show, great sports. Enjoy the Masters this weekend. And Steve, we got to have another show next week.
You bet. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
All right, we'll catch up to you. Sports with Mono and Mono at gmail.com. Love to hear from you. Bye.
Bye.